league, where the Philadelphia 76ers had a 26-point lead at one point and a 99% chance of winning the game, and then the Hawks broke those odds, storming back and beating the Sixers 109-106. Trae Young had a career playoff high with 39 points, and the Hawks are now up 3-2 in that series. Now, the Clippers, they were without Kawhi Leonard last night, but Paul George stepped up in a big way and led LA to a road win over the Jazz, 119-111. George finished with 37 points. The Clippers will look to close out the series tomorrow in LA. And finally, Game 6 between the Nets and the Bucks tonight on ESPN. Brooklyn will be looking to close out the series in Milwaukee, but there is plenty of uncertainty heading into that game as both Kyrie Irving and James Harden continue to deal with injuries. We are so happy to be joined by Adrian Woj right now to talk about this and some other news. And Woj, I'll start you out with the Nets. What are you hearing about the latest on Kyrie and James Harden?
Well, Ryan, now that James Harden is back on the court, you're not getting him off of it, and he'll be in the lineup for the Nets in that Game 6. But Kyrie Irving continues to rehab that ankle, get treatment on it every day. Right now, there's no expectation that we would see him in this conference semifinal series. And if the Nets do advance and beat Milwaukee, they'll hope that as he continues to treatment and rehab, perhaps there's a chance he could play in the next round, but they don't have a real timetable on Irving's return yet.
Okay, and that crucial Game 6 tonight in Milwaukee, the Nets having the chance to close it out against the Bucks. Now, I want to talk to you about the Clippers series. PG-13 stepped up in a big way, but the question is still about Kawhi. What are you hearing about his health, and is there even a possibility that he might play for Game 6?
No, there's no chance he's playing in Game 6 or if there is a Game 7 in this series. And there's not a lot of optimism that Kawhi Leonard is going to be in a place where he could play again. Even if the Clippers advance, they're going to know more about the status of that knee, the severity of that knee injury, perhaps in the next 24 to 48 hours. They are hopeful that this is not a severe injury that not only would impact him for the rest of this season, but perhaps next season. But those answers are still coming for the Clippers, and obviously that was a monumental win for them last night in Utah to have a chance now to go home and close out.
Wow, to think about this impacting Kawhi next season is a scary thought for Clippers fans. Now, I want to turn your attention to somebody who's not even playing right now, but so crucial to these playoffs, CP3. He's currently on the NBA's health and safety protocols. He's in there right now. What are you hearing about him and his status?
Well, Chris Paul, the Suns, what they're really rooting for right now is Utah in Game 6 of that other Western Conference semifinal, because that forces a Game 7 on Sunday, and it pushes back until at least Tuesday when the Suns would have to play again. It buys Chris Paul more time in the health and safety protocol. They're going to reevaluate on Saturday with Chris Paul, and I'm told that, listen, there's optimism, there's hope that he's not going to miss any kind of a significant part of the Western Conference Finals, maybe one game, but you're at the mercy of the testing and in that protocol. And so certainly the Suns just would like to be able to buy some more time here, watch the Clippers Jazz not only play Game 7, maybe play a few overtimes in a Game 7.
That would be very good for Suns fans, and I'm certainly sure they're hearing you right now and saying, thank you, Woj, for giving us some optimism. We shall see if Chris Paul is back for Game 1. Appreciate the time, my friend. And there's Paul George. He calls himself Playoff P, and boy, did he prove it last night. Take it to the third quarter. Playoff P driving in the lane with a tough left-handed finish. He gives LA the lead. Later in the third, Clippers up 3. He finds Marcus Morris for the three-pointer. Now they're up 6. George, right here, the step-back three-pointer. Ballmer loving it. Clippers going up by 9 into the fourth. Right over Royce O'Neal. You know you love it when Steve Ballmer's happy. Playoff P, 37 points, 16 rebounds, and 5 assists. The Clippers win it by 8. Now to the comeback of the night, and it was in Philly. Joel Embiid and the Sixers hosting the Hawks. Game 5, first quarter. Embiid sinking the three from the top of the key. He was 7 for 7 from the floor. Sixers up 10. Next possession, Embiid with a tough shot over Clint Capella. Sixers were up 22 at halftime. Keep that in mind as we go to the third. Hawks down 20. Sixers in transition. Ben Simmons to Seth Curry. He had himself a night, 36. Sixers led by as many as 26 points in the third quarter. Now to the fourth. Hawks clawing back, down only 11. Trae Young to John Collins, who nails the three. Hawks getting within 8. Can you believe this? Hawks down 4. Just 2 minutes to play, and Young sinking the floater. Hawks within 2. 1:30 left. Hawks down 2, and Young drawing the foul. That was critical right there. Foul by Matthias Thybulle. You see Doc Rivers frustrated. Then Gallinari with the jumper right there. Hawks now up by 3. That is going to be a meme for these Sixers if they cannot win this series. Embiid at the free throw line. That's the second of 2 free throw misses right there, and the Sixers lose by 3. Here's Trae and Doc Rivers.
For a team that has no all-stars, no all-defensive players, no all-NBA players, this team is fighting. I think we just had that chip on our shoulder all year, just being overlooked and just having that underdog mentality.
Down the stretch, listen, we scored 19 points and gave up 40. So it's on us, it's on all of us, it's on me, it's on the players, and we have to figure out how to get back up, which we will, and bring this game back here for Game 7.
They got to do something. At the start of the fourth quarter, the Sixers were up 18 and had over a 98% chance to win the game. Even with 3.5 minutes remaining, they were up 8 with a near 95% chance to win the game. But then the slide over the final 2 minutes saw the Hawks end the game on a 7-2 run and flip the probability and the series in their favor. So the Sixers blew an 18-point lead at half in Game 4, and now this. Jay Will with us. Jay Will, who is to blame for another Sixers collapse?
You mean a 26-point lead in Game 5 with 2 minutes left to go in the third quarter? You mean that blown lead? Look, sometimes I feel like when I watch the 76ers play, they should just charge people $34.99 for a masterclass in how to blow leads. I mean, it's really embarrassing when you think about how talented they are. And what are the Sixers team known to do? Defensively, drawing a line in the sand. You have guys like Ben Simmons, Matisse Thybulle, Joel Embiid when he's engaged. But the issue is here that Doc Rivers is going to have with this team is, can you afford to have Ben Simmons in late game scenarios? And he was 4 of 14 from the free throw line the other day.
But defensively, can you take him out?
Defensively, well, you can't take him out defensively, but offensively, if it goes into hack-a-bin strategy, how do you handle that? I mean, when you look at the numbers between Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid, and Ben Simmons in fourth quarters of the last 2 games, they're abysmal. So this is a character challenge for the 76ers. You need Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris. When you're up by 26 points in the third quarter with 2 minutes left to go in the game, you look at your teammates and you say, there's no way in hell we're going to let this happen again. It just happened Game 4. You were up 18 points. So at the end of the day, your great players need to lead your organization. I know people can say, hey, what about Doc? There's a history there of him blowing leads as well. But this is on the players. This is on the best players on their team.
So if it's on the players, what do these players, these Philly players, need to do to get back into this series?
I mean, just sustain a level of sense of urgency throughout the entire course of a game. I mean, you've been up double digits in both games 4 and 5. Close the game. And that comes with not taking your foot off the gas. That comes with not being careless with the basketball, taking care of it. And that comes with applying pressure. Look at it, old school in basketball. When you smell blood in the water, you go for the kill. You go for it. You win that game by 40. You don't allow a team to edge their way back into the game.
Yeah, Doc Rivers talked about how it seemed like right after the beginning of the second half, they kind of relaxed a little bit. He called a timeout. Didn't seem to improve from there. So let's switch gears here. I got to talk to you about Paul George. What was your reaction to his performance last night?
I was happy for him. I mean, let's not forget about what happened last year with Paul George in the bubble. He essentially told everybody the issue he was dealing with. He was depressed because he was isolated. And the question this year, all we've been asking throughout the playoffs, where's Paul George? We need Paul George. You need another superstar. He's another superstar. Paul George has arrived, right? But it's also not just one player. Reggie Jackson had 20-plus points. Marcus Morris had 20-plus points. They got that addition. Defensively, they answered the call. And I give Ty Lue a lot of credit. Kendrick Perkins said it last night via Twitter. Like the adjustments that they made going small and how they guarded Donovan Mitchell, considering Utah doesn't have Mike Conley, who averaged 9 assists per game. Those slight adjustments, I mean, look, it puts Quinn Snyder in a really precarious situation. They are the best team in basketball.
Right.
We look at the way they've been the best team the whole year. They may not be the most talented team, but the best team. They have to find a way to win this series. They have to.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Clippers getting that